Okay, for homework 220, I'd like you to write down these problems on graph paper, show all the work I'm showing you. If there are any words that pop up, write those down too to let me know that you listen. So today, it's about proving if the points I give you make up a right triangle. Prove if the lengths satisfy the Pythagorean theorem, or prove that two slopes of the lines that make up that triangle are perpendicular. You need to know your slope formulas. You need to know these formulas. If I could show you, you need to memorize your distance formula, where you subtract the 2x numbers squared plus the 2y numbers squared. You need to know your slope formula. Distance formula does not matter which order you plug these in, as long as you keep x's and y's together. Slope formula does matter. Y's way up high. The order you subtract y's, you got to stay consistent with the x's. So back to this problem that I was doing. Plot 8, 4, 2, 2, and 0, 8. I want you to kind of get an idea already if this is perpendicular. I could see this is a slope of 1/3. This is a slope of -3. Already I could see that these two lines are perpendicular. I bet it's going to work. So for AB, taking the distance between these 2 points, 8 minus this 2, subtract the 2x numbers together, plus the difference of these 2y numbers does not matter. I could have wrote 2 minus 8 and would have got the same answer. That gives me the square root of 6 squared plus 2 squared, which is 36, plus 4, which gives me the square root of 40. That's the length AB. If I find the length AC, which is not that one, so erase that, go AC. Make sure you're writing the right ones. AC, 8 and 0 are my x numbers. 8 minus 0. 4 minus 8 are the y values. Make sure when you do these problems, 8 squared, just leave it alone. But -4 squared, I'd like you to put parentheses around that -4 to show me that because you're squaring -4, you're getting positive 16. Do not write it like this without the parentheses, because technically this is -16. Do not write it like this. Write it with the parentheses. So that gives me 64 plus 16. Yellow, yellow. So again, 64 plus 16, when I add that up, gives me 80, root 80. Leave these numbers alone. Don't square root these into decimals. When I find the other one, which is BC, 2 minus 0, 2 minus 8, subtract the x numbers together, subtract the y numbers together, does not matter the order. 2 minus 0 squared plus 2 minus 8 squared gives me 2 squared plus, in parentheses, -6 squared gives me 4 plus 36, which is root 40. And if I could see, this is the longest side goes together by itself. These two shorter sides pair up, so the root 80 goes all by itself in the Pythagorean theorem. When you're doing the proof, be careful. So I put the root 40 into the A and B spot. Root 40, make sure you write parentheses squared so you see that that cancels to give you 40. Equal to 80. These cancel and just give you 40 plus 40, which is 80. And I'm sorry I skipped that. I should have wrote 40 plus 40 equals 80. That is true. Now, if I find the slope of this line right here through BA or AB, and I compare that to the slope of this line through CB, if I could prove those are perpendicular, that proves this triangle has a right angle in it, proves it's a right triangle. So to find the slope between these 2 points, you got to go back to the slope formula, different than this distance formula. So I'm going to find the slope of CB, and let's skip ahead here because I think I made a little mistake. So to find the slope of the points through CB, I'm going to take the points 2, which is the y number, minus 8. And I'm going to stay consistent. I'm going to go 2 minus 8 on top, and then go that same order, 2 minus 0 on the bottom. I could have went 8 minus 2, as long as I did 0 minus 2 on the bottom. Stay consistent. So you can see the slope between these 2 points. I subtracted the y numbers up high, left to right, and subtracted the x numbers in that same direction on the bottom. That gives me negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. So you can see this green line goes over 1 down 3 over 1 down 3. That's the slope of this green line through the points CB or BC. Now if I find the slope through the points BA, doesn't matter the order, I'm going to go right to left with my y's and stay consistent with my x's right to left. I could have went 4 minus 2 over 8 minus 2, doesn't matter as long as you stay consistent. But no matter what, one slope is negative 3, the other slope is positive 1/3. That is a negative reciprocal. Those are perpendicular. That proves not only with these lengths, but it proves that those slopes are perpendicular too. Blue. Alright, got one more for you. And you're done. This one, A, B, C, I got 2, 6, 10, 4, 4, 2. I could see when I plotted this line has a slope of 1/3, where this one looks like it's going down negative 2, so not quite perpendicular. I bet it's not going to work. So if I plug in AB, 2 minus 10 squared plus 6 minus 4 squared, that gives me the square root of negative 8 in parentheses squared plus 2 squared. Gives me 64 plus 4, which is 68. If I find the distance between A and C, I think that's what I'm doing next. So 6 minus 2, 2 minus 4. Subtract the x's and y's together. So 2 minus 4, 6 minus 2 gives me negative 2 squared plus 4 squared. Make sure you write these in parentheses, negative 2 with parentheses around it, squared plus 4 squared. Gives me 4 plus 16, which is root 20. If I do my last one, which is BC, I'm going to do 10 minus 4 squared plus 4 minus 2 squared, which gives me 6 squared plus 2 squared, which I could see is 36 plus 4, which is 40. This definitely is my longest side, goes in the Pythagorean theorem all by itself. These are my 2 legs. I can see that these don't quite add up to be 60, not quite a right triangle. Root 20 squared, root 40 squared, my 2 legs, does not equal root 68 squared. It's close. 20 plus 40 does not equal 68. That is a false statement. That proves these lengths do not make up a right triangle. If I did the slope, my slope will be close, but not perpendicular either. So if I do the slope between C and B and compare that to the slope of A and C, if they're not perpendicular, it's not a right triangle. It's going to be close though. If I do the points between A and C, 6 minus 2, 2 minus 4, subtracting the y numbers up high, subtracting the x numbers, same pattern on the bottom, gives me 4 over negative 2, which is a negative 2 slope, which makes sense. This red line though, the slope of CB or BC, whatever way you want to go, I'm going to go, let's see what I do here. I'm going to go 2 minus 4 again, going right to left, stay in that pattern right to left with my x's. I could have went 4 minus 2 on top as long as I went that same pattern with my x's. But that gives me negative 2 over negative 6, which is 1/3, which is not quite negative reciprocal. black. Black. Good luck. Not reciprocal negative.